everyone, and welcome back to Geek Nerd Dork. I am Lynn once again, and I am joined once more by Erik.
Hello.
And down there, Trey.
Howdy.
We are up to episode 4, guys.
Crazy.
See, 4 of these. We're doing pretty good, huh?
Totally. Everybody's watching.
Yeah, everybody's watching. Okay, I'm going to put this in the beginning of the thing. If you do like this, or you think we're entertaining, like, subscribe, all that stuff.
Help us out.
I may mention it at the end of the video too. But like and subscribe right now. Do it. Do it. You right there. Do it. Thank you. All right. Well, for today, we got a couple things we want to talk about. Last week, we talked about remakes and reboots and all that good stuff. And had the How to Train Your Dragon teaser came out then, and we watched that. Well, this week, and did we mention Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, we mentioned Lilo and Stitch a little last week. This week, a teaser trailer for Lilo and Stitch live action came out yesterday. I don't know, sometime this week.
A couple days ago, yeah.
Erik's watched it. I didn't watch it.
I haven't watched it either yet.
Trey didn't watch it either. So I'm going to bring it up. Let's see here if I can remember to do this again. Nope, not that button. Nope, not that button.
Yeah. Try again.
Oh, you know why? That button.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, kind of. Go away. Oh, my gosh. There we go. Trey
Nailed
Professionals. 4 episodes in, guys. 4
Nailed
episodes in. We're doing great.
For pros.
First try. Who knows? Maybe it'll get edited out. But it won't. All right. So let me bring this up over here, and we will watch this. So, and...
Did you watch Godzilla? Even more gross.
Okay. So, yeah, that was very, very short and brief.
Mm-hmm.
He looks really good.
I was going to say, it's kind of crazy how CGI has really taken off and kind of progressed.
Looks like a real-life toy, basically.
Yeah,
Like
it looks
plushie.
really good.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me, well, I remember when the first Lilo and Stitch cartoon came out. That's how some of the first trailers were. It was showing like okay, the one I remember for sure, it was started like The Lion King, where Rafiki holds up Simba,
Mm-hmm.
and you go, oh, and all the majestic, and Rafiki holds up, and he's holding up Stitch.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was the whole thing where Stitch was coming in and wrecking everything and stuff. So kind of reminds me of that feel a little.
So he's the Deadpool of the Disney cartoons. He just pops up in different stuff.
He did in the original trailers back in the day, yes. Kind of reminds me of that. He also has the feel of, did either of you watch Detective Pikachu?
Yes.
Trey?
I did not, actually. I'm surprised I didn't, but
I mean,
I've got around to it.
Stitch is basically a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how they looked. The Pokemon look. So yeah, definitely CG has come a long, long ways from Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they kind of pioneered that. Like he was really the first.
Yeah, Jar Jar was the first all digital character in a movie.
Yeah.
So yes, he has definitely come a long way. I'm excited for this. It was what May it said. Okay. I watch these things and you think I would pay attention to that.
I never do either. Like I don't know.
Let me look back. Go back. Yeah, Memorial Day.
Mm.
Memorial Day 2025.
Sweet.
So May. So we've got that in May. How to Train Your Dragon was in June. Got some Marvel movies.
It's a
I've
lot
got
of
a good.
animated stuff this summer.
I've got a good slate of movies coming up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Take my money.
Yes. All right. And speaking of things coming up, another thing that was announced in this last week was more Skeleton Crew news.
Mhm.
See, that's what we call a transition, guys.
Oh, it worked
Transition.
perfectly.
Skeleton Crew was supposed to premiere Tuesday, December 3rd at like 9 p.m. Eastern. Well, they announced that they are going to move that up, and now it is going to premiere Monday, December 2nd
Mhm.
at 6 p.m. Eastern.
A whole day and 3 hours earlier.
Star Wars that much sooner? Yes, please.
But why, Lynn? Why did they change the date and the time?
Why? Why did they change the date? Well, this is my theory. Well, actually, I heard this on something else. The theory is they moved it up. Well, they moved it up time-wise. I don't know about the date, but they moved it up time-wise to an earlier time because it is a more family-centered show. It's not your Acolyte or um, Mandalorian or something where they're aiming for the older audience. They're aiming for the younger audience with this show.
Yep.
And 6 p.m. is early enough for younger viewers, which I find odd because I didn't realize this. Well, I guess I did realize this, but I really didn't make the connection that all of their animated stuff just gets released in the middle of the night when they would do like Bad Batch and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It would release, at like 3 a.m. or something stupid.
Yes, I watched it at midnight on the West Coast when I lived there. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Even though Skeleton Crew is premiering the Monday instead of the Tuesday, I may not get to watch it that early. I don't know what I've got going on that week.
I think part of it too is that they're also not. Well, one, they're experimenting, but I think two, they're trying to figure out like, does it really matter anymore? Because TV used to be like an event where before DVRs and stuff, it's like this is the night you have to watch it at this time, and that's it.
Must see TV.
Yeah, exactly. But now you're just showing your age, man, and mine too. But
you got the reference. Trey over there's going, what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, old, not old. But yeah, I think they're just trying to figure out like, does it really matter anymore? I mean, everything's streaming now on their stuff, so
yeah,
like, you can watch it anytime. So if you do it earlier in the week, then they have kind of the whole week to watch it.
Well, that's like when they started with like Mandalorian and stuff. It was I remember people being upset that they were only releasing one episode a week.
Mm-hmm.
Where before, where all your other series would drop the whole.
Well, Netflix, yeah,
the Netflix would drop the whole season at one time, and then you could binge through it.
And
I'm glad they did it that way. I prefer the Disney of one a week.
Yeah, the benefit is to people talk about it more on social media. You can build up like some actual interest in it, let it fester through social media basically. But whereas if you just dump it, you have a bunch of social media interaction once and for a week or so, and then it's gone. So yeah.
Plus, I mean, I'm not one to sit and binge something. I can't.
I used to. I don't anymore.
I can't really do that anymore. I don't want it spoiled.
Yeah. That's the
thing. When you dump it all at once, you get spoiled. I mean, you feel like you have to watch the whole thing right away, so you're not spoiled.
Yeah, it's getting even bad to where it's not just people spoiling it, like the network that put out the show spoils it because they put out, like, I keep coming up to YouTube's homepage and it's like, here's the trailer for the last episode of Superman and Lois, and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet. Like, don't show me this stuff. Like,
yeah, I don't. I mean, I go on YouTube and stuff, but I don't look at I don't watch those trailers. Once the show starts, I don't watch trailers for it. I watch it.
But some of them even put it in the title or something like, here's something that happened in that episode, or here's the next episode. I'm like, stop.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm again excited about Skeleton. We're going to cover Skeleton Crew. We're going to talk about it every week as it's coming out because we're all, well, like I said in the first episode, I like Star Wars a lot.
Yes, I also like Star Wars, but lately hit or miss for me. So
yeah, well, I like Star Wars a lot. All right. So what we want to really talk about today is if you did watch last week's episode and we were talking about remakes and reboots, we talked about Transformers. Some. And Trey mentioned in that conversation that the only Transformers he has seen is the Michael Bay movie Transformers, or the Bayformers.
The Bayverse.
The Bayverse, yes. Well, this week, Trey went back in time and watched some of the original G1 Transformers from the 80s, the cartoon that was on every school day at 4 o'clock. Well, at least for me it was. Every school day at 4 o'clock, I would come home and watch Transformers. So Trey, having having experienced this glorious moment in time.
What was the year?
It would have been 80...
4 or 5.
Around
there.
I don't know what time when the Transformers come out. Okay.
Sorry to mess up the flow there.
See, you messed up my flow. You messed up my whole train of thought. Well, okay. It would have been 80. I'm going to say 84 because the movie was 86, I believe.
Yes, it was 86, yeah.
So, all right. So back to 1984, before Trey was born.
Yeah.
What do you think of original 1984 G1 Transformers? What were your thoughts?
Well, it was definitely interesting, to say the least. I will admit, like, there was a moment in the the first episode where they land on Earth, and it was just a very quick, oh, we're on Earth, here's a commercial break, oh, it's been 4 million years, and I'm like, oh, okay, because I didn't think they even landed on Earth. I was like, oh, I wonder where they're at, and then it was just like, it's been 4 million years, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened, and
the volcano erupted. That's what woke up Tran 1.
And yeah, that was good. Did not follow that very well. And I'll be honest, the number of names that was dropped immediately, I'm like, I don't know who is who. I just know Decepticons and Autobots. And yeah, there's a lot of words that were thrown at me, and it's kind of interesting because I remember watching it and paused, and I was like, I'm just curious. So I went and watched commercials about Transformers.
Oh, toy commercials?
Yeah. Let's see here, 1984. Well, I have it already pulled up. I don't know why I didn't just say chip in that was at 84.
Oh,
but
so he knew the year.
Yeah.
And he made me suffer there for a minute. So,
but it literally, it was just the transition between here's a toy that is the exact same thing we're doing in the show. I can definitely see that was the selling point.
Well, okay. All right. So you were watching it. I know you were watching it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that you notice the bumpers where it says, soon we'll return to now we're back to the Transformers. The little bumper.
Yeah.
You know why that's there?
Did that just transition into a commercial? Like, here, look at these toys. And
those were the commercial breaks. And the regulations were they had to put that in there so us dumb kids in the 80s would know this is the show. This is a commercial. We're back to the show.
Yeah.
So Transformers had that. G.I. Joe had that. All the shows had that at that time. So,
Before the internet, they were worried that TV was dumbing down America. Like the kids were just idiots because we watched a bunch of TV. So yeah,
yes.
and then it only got worse.
Yeah. So
And I
it was
think
definitely. Go ahead.
just one thing I was going to throw in. I think you can actually thank George Lucas for all this because he really kind of started the toy related to movie, TV show, etc. revolution. I mean, he ensured that he had the rights to the toys when he did the movies, and he somehow just knew that that would be a big thing. And then by the mid '80s, there like everybody was doing it. Everybody's like toys for everything.
Well, there was a major deregulation in the 80s. That's when you start to get the shows that were 30-minute commercials. But I went back and I rewatched the first 3 episodes of Transformers. So I know what Trey's talking about here because I like Transformers. I haven't watched it for a long time, but I really do like it. And it was a lot of at you, boom, 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 because we got to get every character in there. They've got to have names and stuff like that. Did you have any particular Transformer that stuck out to you? Like that guy's cool. I mean, everybody likes Optimus Prime.
Yeah. So
and everybody likes Megatron.
One, they all had their own niche thing that they did. So like I think Mirage, is that his name? That was
Mirage was Ray trying to turn invisible.
Yeah. So that
was in the last movie too. So.
That was kind of cool. I like Bumblebee because his thing was like I can be small. I'm like, I relate to that. That is very relatable. So Bumblebee was pretty cool. But having kind of seen the origin of these characters, is it Soundwave?
Soundwave, the
Soundwave. There we go.
The cassette player.
Whoever is like Megatron's like
Starscream.
Starscream. Okay, yes.
Yeah. Starscream's the jet.
Yeah. So immediately there's just like a rivalry out of nowhere. There's like, I'm going to rule the world. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Like,
and that's the thing that carried through all of Transformers.
Yeah. So that was,
and that's even a little of the, I mean, you kind of see it in the Michael Bay ones.
Oh, you do. I mean, for a while in between where Megatron was gone, Starscream was the leader for a while. Like he like helped birth all the babies in the second movie and stuff like that, like all kinds of weird stuff. But he was always there.
Yeah,
it was interesting, but like I said, it was like a lot all at once. So I'm like, okay, well, they're really just like these are the characters, and for someone like me, like good luck keeping up. I mean, I don't know, I can keep up with Game of Thrones characters, but like the speed that they were throwing the names at me, like I was like,
okay. Because I mean, every character that was in there had a name. I mean, they gave the name of every character. And
it's still not half as bad as Pokemon. Like knowing all of those or anything.
No.
Like
now I remember as a kid, I didn't know all their names. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew Mirage because Mirage was the first Transformer I had. Or was he he might have been the second Transformer I had. I remember I had Mirage until I got for Christmas that year. I got Mirage and Trailbreaker. Trailbreaker was the black SUV Blazer type looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had those two. Those were my first. So I knew those two guys. Of course, you know Optimus Prime and Megatron and Starscream. Now the other two jets, I still couldn't tell you what their names are. There's Starscream and the other two guys.
I should know it because he was in Bumblebee. Because you think it's Starscream at first, but then it's not, and he dies. It was something Scream, but
I couldn't tell you what the other two guys' names were. But of course, your Prime. Now, I always liked. I never had, but my favorite was always Soundwave. Now, Soundwave was the cassette player.
Mm-hmm.
It had Laserbeak and Ravage and Rumble. Those were the three main ones that he always used in the first cartoons, the G1 cartoons. And so you never got to, because you only watched a couple episodes, Trey. You never got to Blaster. Blaster was the Autobot equivalent of Soundwave.
Yeah, that's the one I had.
Yeah. So here, let me see if I can bring this up.
Or maybe it was my brother had. I don't remember.
Add the stage. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. I'm bringing
Nice.
stuff up.
Yeah, the one on the left there.
Yeah. That guy there. That's Blaster there. Let me see what happens if I click on there. That's Blaster. He didn't come up until season 2 of Transformers. But he was the Autobot equipment. He had cassettes and everything too. So yeah, that was Blaster. Here's Mirage. This is the one I had. That was one of the first ones I had.
Never had that one.
Yeah. He was fun.
He was the Porsche in the last movie.
Yes. Now I remember you, Eric, you said you had Optimus Prime, right?
Yeah, that was my first and one of the few. Yeah, there was about 5. Or yeah, 1984. That would have been. I was 5. So
yeah, I mean, I had Transformers. I didn't have a lot of them, but I had some.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my favorite. Let me see if they have it up here somewhere. My favorite was the Combiners too, the aerial bots, and I don't see aerial bots.
My cousin had the construction worker ones that all turned into a big one. That was pretty
cool. And the Constructicons were in the second Michael Bay movie.
Yes.
The one they ended up in Egypt.
Yeah, I believe that's the second one.
Yeah. So Transformers were definitely they were one of my things that I watched as a kid a lot. Transformers, and then G.I. Joe was on after it. So
yeah, I didn't have that many either. I did have Hot Rod, especially when the movie came out. And then I was like, oh yeah,
Hot Rod.
Yeah,
Hot Rod. Now, see, you don't know this either, Trey. See, okay. Transformers were great. Love Transformers. And they basically the idea was, we're going to sell these toys. All right, I'm going to flip back to us. There we go.
Pretty face.
Sell these toys. And they had different price points and everything. But when they decided to do Transformers the movie from 1986, the whole idea behind that was we need to sell toys. Well, we're not producing, we're not really making Optimus Primes and that many more. We're going to refresh the line with new characters. And they killed Optimus Prime in that movie. Emotionally scarred an entire generation.
Yes, pretty much.
In one fell swoop.
Mm-hmm.
What Hasbro didn't realize is that the mythology that they created with these toys was so dear to us as kids. I mean, in the cartoons, they get shot. These guys get shot, but they're robots. They can get fixed. So in a cartoon, we'd have peril in a half-hour cartoon. But by the end of the show, everybody's fine. Everybody's alive and well and everything. Then 1986 comes around and Transformers the movie comes out. So all these characters that we have grown and loved for 2 years, watching this cartoon every day after school at 4 o'clock. Again, that's when it was on for me. Within the first, why'd you say, Eric, half hour, 20 minutes of the movie,
yeah,
we watched every one of those characters, both good and bad guys, die on screen.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I remember, okay, Ratchet, I'm pretty sure it's Ratchet. Ratchet was the ambulance, the doctor for him, Trey.
Mm-hmm.
So watching this character for 2 years and then getting shot and watching smoke roll out of his eyeballs. And this was a cartoon for kids.
Mommy, why?
Yeah.
So they just kill the Autobots, or what? The Decepticons die too?
Everybody died. Megatron Optimus Prime died. A few of them survived. A few made it. I know, like Bumblebee survived. Who would have survived?
Well, Hot Rod, but
But I'm thinking of what he would have watched.
yeah.
Bumblebee survived. I think Jazz maybe survived. But that's about it. All those other characters that you got shown on the Autobot side that you saw in these 3 episodes that you watched, all dead.
And they're just like, by the way, here's new characters.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. We got Hot Rod, Springer, Ultra Magnus, Cup. Yeah, and I mean, I like those. I like those episodes too. I liked it. But I was like, yeah, emotionally scarred an entire generation.
And didn't they put like Optimus Prime like in the center of the moon or something, and his body was like?
Okay, no. See, you're thinking, okay, so they killed off Optimus Prime. Kids are locking themselves in closets and bathrooms and never coming out again. There was a major letter writing campaign.
See, letters are these things where you get a piece of paper, you mail it, put a stamp on, you mail it in.
Yeah, there was a major that they were parents writing saying how they, you upset my kids that much and stuff. And so in season 3, there was a 2-parter episodes. The Return of Optimus Prime, and they were talking about how Optimus Prime was coming back, and it was some mad. It's been a long time since I've watched any of these, but like I believe Optimus Prime came back. Someone reprogrammed him or something, and his idea was Optimus Prime was going to kill the Transformers, and they ended up killing him again. Yes!
Write us letters and tell us what to do. We'll show you.
Now, they did eventually bring him back and stuff. But it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was young. I only half remember this stuff. So I just remember pieces of it.
I didn't see Transformers, the movie, in the theater. But I mean, we talked on the playground, let me tell you. And so I knew that he died and everything, but I didn't see it. And then when season 3 started of Transformers, it was after the movie. So it was Hot Rod, Rodimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, Cub, Springer, all those guys. And where was I going with this? I don't remember now. Oh, G.I. Joe, the movie. Which was, this is what we did. This is what Hasbro did.
That was a bizarre one.
They wanted new characters too. Well, G.I. Joe, the movie, was supposed to originally come out before Transformers, the movie. But something happened, production delays. I don't know what happened. And they had Transformers, the movie, come out first. Well, G.I. Joe was going to kill Duke. Duke being the main good guy in G.I. Joe, the leader. They were going to kill Duke. Well, then they realized when they killed Optimus Prime how bad that was. That instead, if you watch the cartoon and the characters' reactions, you could tell that Duke was dead. But they redubbed it, and he went into a coma. Duke went into a coma, so he didn't actually die. But knowing that, they originally had him dying, if you watch that, you could tell he was dead by the reactions. You wouldn't be crying and this sad if he went into a coma. Okay? Maybe I'm a little cold-hearted there. I don't know. And then at the very end of the movie, after they win the battle, and Duke's not there because he's, dead. In a coma. You hear Doc over the radio say, Duke's all right. He came out of a coma. You never actually see him again. But he's all right. He came out of a coma. Because they knew they couldn't kill Duke. Because they killed Optimus Prime, and it was a terrible thing. They scarred us all emotionally forever.
That's Gen X and beginning of millennials, man. We were just all messed up by our cartoons.
Yes. So, yeah. So, all right, so you watched the first ones, and you watched a couple others. You said just a
few more
feel of it.
It was like, they ended up on I can't even think of what their home planet is called.
Cybertron.
I was expecting a human just to go with them. Like, oh, cool, we're gonna just travel too, and you get to like just.
Oh yeah, at the end of the okay. Well, that first 3-part series, that was like their their pilot or something. So they weren't sure. They had to wrap it all up and everything. They weren't sure if they were going to make more. So yeah.
I will say, watching it like from like Michael Bay is the first thing I saw. My first experience with Transformers. I mean, I knew they were around. I mean, they were still around in the '90s to an extent, but like, just wasn't really my thing.
Well, Transformers were still
But it's just interesting because, somewhat going back to last episode with How to Train Your Dragon, I don't know if there was like as much impact because I'm like, okay, my brain is just going to these like shiny films with lots of explosions, and this may be controversial, I don't know. And it's not necessarily that they're like, it's this, I think they're the same level of just like silly. Just like the story is just robots that turn into different vehicles, and that is that. So it's like I don't necessarily. I guess I have a.
You don't have the same reverence for it as I do.
Yeah. So I guess, how did you guys feel watching it remade Transformers, having had memories before?
I generally liked it. Yeah, they didn't like bash it up too bad. It was
no,
dude. When in the first movie, when the sword comes out of his hand, I was like, you did like Transformers. You made a movie that you actually watched the originals at least a little bit. Like,
had a general idea what was going on.
Yeah, I mean they generally got it. They changed some stuff, but
they had to change some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, one thing with your original Transformers, I mean, Soundwave, big giant robot, transforms to a little cassette player that Spike carries inside to the base. Megatron, big giant robot, transforms and turns into a little gun.
Or tank.
Yeah, there's.
Well, in the original, he turned into a gun. Yeah. And see, that, okay, you want to know the reason why that is that? When Hasbro brought over Transformers from Japan to the United States to sell these toys. That's the only reason we got the whole mythology and the cartoon and everything, because of that, when they brought it over, because kids in America, we need it more than kids in Japan. Japan, it was like, ooh, car turns into a robot. That's all they needed. They were happy with that. And whereas I need a backstory. Okay. But it was 2 different toy lines in Japan that they merged together into one toy line in the US. And one toy line was cars that turned into robots, and the other line was, everyday items that turn into robots. The gun that turns into a robot, the cassette player that turned into a robot, the microscope that turned into a robot. You didn't see the microscope turn into a robot yet. That's a Perceptor. He's an Autobot. He's a good guy. Sorry. I know some of their names.
Good job.
But that was why they were 2 different toy lines. So when they brought them over, they had to do something. So they just decided, let's make them shrink and grow. And when Michael Bay started his movies, they weren't going to do that. So that's why.
Yeah, plus they could be multiple things. They could scan and redo themselves. Again, which they didn't do originally.
Yeah, they do that back in the day.
That's a recurring theme, by the way, is it was the same with Nintendo when they were going to bring the Famicom over to the United States. The US, newly formed US part of Nintendo said, we can't just take this boring looking box and ship it. Like, we have to have more. So they made like a robot that dropped a thing on a thing, and it interacted with the game, and the gun that shoot. Like, just Americans just had to have more. So whatever worked in Japan wouldn't really work in America. We were like, we need more.
Yeah. But so that's why the whole shrinking. But when Michael Bay did his, they weren't going to do the shrinking and stuff. So that's why Megatron in the first Michael Bay movie turns into a jet, which is actually a Cybertronian jet. So that's why they didn't have any of the shrinking and stuff. That's why Starscream looks funny in the first Michael Bay movie too.
The CG was pretty revolutionary at the time too. Like we'd never seen that many parts moving at the same time, or like that. Yeah. How did they build that? There was just like thousands of parts that transform into a new one. Because the originals were like, here's a leg and it swings up. Like that was it.
Yeah. And you can see, I mean, and when you watch them transform in the cartoon, you can actually sort of see that's how the toy moved.
Mm-hmm.
Now I remember, okay, now I'm going to feel really old. I remember GoBots. Mm-hmm. You know what a GoBot is, right?
Mm-hmm.
GoBots are the Tonka Transformers. And actually, GoBots were first. GoBots came out for like a year before Transformers did in the United States.
Really?
But there was a cartoon, Challenge of the GoBots. And if you watched Challenge of the GoBots, they definitely transformed in the way that the toy did. I had a lot of GoBots. I had way more GoBots than I did Transformers.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Trey, you were saying before the show there was other stuff that would come up on your feed, like after watching Transformers.
All of a sudden, I kind of got hit with just 80s cartoons, and there was another one that I was going to ask you guys about because I'm like, this just looks like an knockoff, but it's.
Before we go into that, real quick, I had to Google it. Google GoBots.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the one on the far left that I had. I don't even know what it was, but
this guy, the
poor man's Transformers.
This guy here. That one? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
That's not only do I know what that is, that's Coptor.
Oh no. It was the orange, if you like towards the bottom of your screen, the orange truck there. That's the one I had.
That?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that was. I never had that.
I totally had that. I don't know what it is either, but absolutely had that one. The legs are actually made of metal, not plastic.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Now okay. Now Trey, you can go on to your. Let me bring that back up.
I mean, that kind of is interesting because there's like a trend. Because that I was like, if I saw that, I would also be like, okay, there's another knockoff. How many are there? But apparently, said that's the original. So
the GoBots. I mean, technically, what it was in Japan was the original, but the GoBots were by Tonka. The GoBots came out in the United States before the Transformers did.
And Tonka made other toys. Like I had I think I was like 2 or 3 or something. I
remember Tonka was more trucks.
It had like a crank and it would make a noise like as you pushed along. And then it had it was a tow truck. So it had like a rope with a line and you could attach it to other things and drag it around the house and stuff. It's cool.
Okay. But okay, now back to your conversation. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to bring up the GoBots real quick.
I mean, that's interesting just because I was like, another kind of similar thing, but like M.A.S.K. I know what Transformers are, but M.A.S.K. I have no knowledge of what that is.
M.A.S.K. was also in the 80s. It was the same time I don't know the year on this one. But they were toys by Kenner, of all people, who watched Star Wars. But they were toys, and they're okay. A Star Wars action figure was 3 3/4 of an inch tall. A M.A.S.K. action figure was smaller. I want to say it was like 3 inches tall.
Yeah, I actually had the main guy's little toy, and I cut him off at the shoulders with a hacksaw. And when I was in Cub Scouts, I made a Pinewood Derby car, and I put him in the car, and he was in my Pinewood Derby car.
But M.A.S.K. was M.A.S.K. stands for Mobile Armor Strike Command.
Command with a K.
With a K. But M.A.S.K. was so there was this team led by Matt Tracker, and there we go, led by Matt Tracker and that's Matt Tracker there, right here. That's Matt. And they had these masks, and they had vehicles that transformed into things. Like this was his car, and the wings flipped up, and jets popped out of the back, and it flew.
Dude, is that an old Firebird or Trans Am or what
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a Firebird or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah. So, I mean, there's better pictures. Oh, that's a really bad picture. I want to see a picture of the box. Of course, I can't find one that's good. There we go. But that's what it was. And see, their action figures were smaller because they came with vehicles.
It actually looks like a Camaro.
I don't know what it was. It was a car. It was a red car, okay?
Okay, red car. Got it.
And they came with vehicles. That's when I remember. I had that. That was Condor. That was the first one I had. It was a motorcycle that turned into a helicopter.
Yeah.
It was
like
pretty awesome. But there was a team. There was the M.A.S.K, and then there were the bad guys, Venom. I don't remember what Venom stood for, but it was one of those. They had a thing too.
Fail. This episode has been Lynn. Lynn knows it all, but you just failed.
I don't know it all. I don't remember it all. Okay, come on, dude. This was a long time ago. Yeah.
What?
So,
40 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. But M.A.S.K was the thing too, and I remember I had probably more M.A.S.K toys than I did Transformers. And that was loads of fun. That is okay. We're gonna go back again an episode to the remakes and reboots and stuff. A while ago, I don't know how many years ago this has been. It was after Marvel started their Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything. And it was after the first Michael Bay Transformer movie. It was after the first G.I. Joe movie. Okay. And they're kind of getting into this now after this last Transformer movie. But Hasbro was going to start a shared universe, a cinematic shared universe, like Marvel did. And they were going to take their Hasbro properties. And one of the things that we were going to do, they were going to have Transformers, and they were going to have G.I. Joe, and they were going to have M.A.S.K, which I would have been very psyched about.
I don't know how you make a movie about that, but
M.A.S.K, oh, dude, they could easily make a movie with these things, with these cars that transform into things, with human pilots.
So you just have to have a story that's completely unrelated.
The vehicles aren't like sentient. No, they're just
vehicles aren't sentient or anything like that. Now their M.A.S.K, their M.A.S.K, they would put on their M.A.S.K, and their M.A.S.K had powers. Like the one with the Camaro guy, Matt Tracker, his M.A.S.K would, I don't remember what it was called, but would make him fly. He could fly with that M.A.S.K on. One of the other guys had a thing, and it would shoot out these little circles, and it would lift things, like an anti-gravity thing. It would lift things. I know there was a couple guys that had ones that would fly. Brad Turner. I know some things. Brad Turner is the character that came with Condor, the motorcycle. And his, I don't know why I remember this, his M.A.S.K was called Hocus Pocus. And it would make holograms of things. These are the things that are stuck in my head. Okay?
And there's a lot in there.
Don't ask me important dates or anything, but I can tell you that Brad Turner drove Condor, and his M.A.S.K was Hocus Pocus. And the cool thing about, now you got me going. You got me going on M.A.S.K.
He's basically Mysterio.
You got me going on M.A.S.K here. Thing about M.A.S.K was, Matt Tracker was the good guy's leader. And all of his people, they had real jobs and stuff. And something would happen at the beginning of the episode, and Matt would go to his computer, type, and have, computer, I need the best M.A.S.K agents for this mission. And the computer would go through and it would pick out people. and it would say, Brad Turner, Condor, all that good stuff, and then you would see a scene of Brad, and he was a rock star. He played guitar. He was a rock star, because
Gem.
and his little watch would go beep 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 beep, and he would see it, and he would drop whatever he was doing and go take off. And every episode started that way. I mean, they were very formulatic, did the same thing every episode and stuff. And oh, I'm sorry, I want M.A.S.K.
As a computer guy, I'm thinking now, I'm like, we probably thought it was magical back then that you could call up a computer and search for things and it would tell you things. Like, no way.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So now you got me on this M.A.S.K. Heck with Transformers. Let's talk about M.A.S.K. the rest of the night. You need to go. Okay, no. Now, see, okay, I have all these fond, nostalgic memories of this show and these toys that I played with a lot, but I have not gone back and watched the cartoon. And I want to, but part of me is like, do
Leave
you
it be.
really want to?
Yeah.
Do you
wanna
want
ruin
to
it.
watch it, or do you want to keep these fond memories in your head and let you think it's way better than it really was?
hmm
I Part of me wants to. The thing that saved me on this is I'm a physical media guy, and you cannot buy M.A.S.K. on DVD,
Have you tried eBay? I bet someone has it out there.
but not an official
A new one, yeah. Official.
unpirated
Yeah.
version. I could probably go find you a pirated copy of it somewhere. Heck, I could just go on YouTube and search it, and I know it's there.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, do I want to? Part of me wants to.
Probably not.
Part of me really, really wants to. But then there's that part of me that watched Dukes of Hazzard once, well after it had been when I was a kid, and I watched one episode and I said I can never watch this show again because I don't want to ruin Dukes of Hazzard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where you're just a little older than me, because I watched all this stuff, but I was little when I watched it. Like I was,
You didn't
small.
have.
No, like I didn't watch it every day after school. It was
Oh
more
yeah,
like
M.A.S.K. was every day after school too.
Yeah, mine was more like DuckTales, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, and Darkwing Duck, and all of those types of things I watched like after school, just constant, or Gargoyles. Yeah, I watched those.
Oh
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I may be a little older than you.
Yeah. Are you 3 years older than me? I don't remember.
I don't remember, but
Something like that.
But you know what though? You're talking about how you weren't old enough to watch these, but you watched those.
Mhm.
I watched these
And those.
and those.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the ones that came on after. Trey, what cartoons did you watch?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is like what the equivalent. I mean, I'm sure there were probably. I don't know when they stopped airing them. I'm looking at like G1 Transformers. It goes to 1990, which is
it went to 1990 more in Japan. It had 4 seasons. Well, it had 3 seasons really in the U.S. And then when they got to Headmasters, they switched and it basically went to Japan.
Gotcha.
But
I think the only equivalent I can think of like things transforming would literally have been Power Rangers and then like all combining. But in terms of like pure sales, like that being the thing, it's got to be Pokemon. I feel like that was the biggest push for things. Now, this is probably going to be a controversial thing. I'm not a Pokemon guy. I was a Digimon guy, and I will go to the grave.
I would be there, so.
See, I didn't. Okay, I did not watch the Pokemon, the Digimon, the whatever Mon that was that week. I didn't watch those. I didn't watch Power Rangers. I didn't watch. Thing is, I didn't watch, but I know the names. I didn't watch Beetleborgs or whatever was the equivalent of that week. I didn't watch those, but I did watch, like Erik was talking about. I watched DuckTales. I watched Darkwing Duck. The Tailspin.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah, Power Rangers was when I would just, if it was on, I'd be like, okay, there's nothing else on.
You had younger brothers, though, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah, you have younger brothers, so they were probably watching those.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Kind of interesting though, because like other shows that I mean, there were toys, but in terms of like what I grew up with was like Rugrats. Like that wasn't.
But
really
see, that's the thing. Okay, that was the great thing about the '80s and the cartoons and the shows for kids in the '80s, because all those were 30-minute commercials. The regulations had been lessened in that time. Well, by the time we get to you, Trey, unfortunately, you missed out on this. The regulations started to come back, where things had to be educational, which Transformers and G.I. Joe, both educational. Because there was that little bit at the end, more with G.I. Joe. I remember more with G.I. Joe, but they did it with Transformers too. And knowing is half the battle. You know, the public service announcement
they put a little clip at the end.
As a little clip, like, hey, Bill, let's go get in this guy's van. No, you shouldn't get in a stranger's van. You know, that kind of a thing. Those were, and I have G.I. Joe, all the complete series of G.I. Joe over there, and I believe one of the bonuses on one of the discs is all of those little things at the end, all the public service announcements. So I could sit there and I could watch all the public service announcements, and now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much a cultural shift. Like you guys had the internet, like so you didn't just sit around and play with toys, like not in the same way that we did. Like it was all there was. And then also like parents just sort of let you do whatever back then. And now parents don't do that. Like parents are much more hands-on, and you know, like that commercial of it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? Like that just seems like madness compared to
today. That was the other thing. Yeah, Trey, my generation, you know, you went outside in the summer and you came inside when it got dark. Street lights come on, you go home.
Yep.
Other than that, my mom probably didn't know where I was half the time. And there was a commercial on TV at 10 o'clock. It came on. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Had a bunch of celebrities on it saying, do you know where your kids are?
Yeah. You know why? Because they didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
Oh, man. If my mother knew half the things I did as an adolescent.
Yep.
And we will just leave it at that. We won't tell my mother.
I mean, I was a really good kid, and I still had a few things I'm like, my parents don't know. So.
Oh, yeah. About middle school, junior high, middle school age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I was a good kid, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there were things that I did that I probably shouldn't have done. And I probably won't tell my kids about them.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too, because now your generation, not to go too far into that, but your generation now, like you can't get away with anything. So you can't like make stupid mistakes and explore and, you know, do that sort of stuff.
Sorry, Trey. We had all the fun before
we did. The fun.
It's been interesting because I experienced the shift because I like dial up. Like I couldn't be on a computer for long because like if somebody got a phone call, I got kicked off. So like, okay. So like I've watched the progression from like really not a whole lot of internet because it was, I don't know, like I think Windows 98 was like the big like whoa kind of thing.
LAN parties. We had LAN parties with Windows 98.
Yep. So it's been interesting watching things. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm in a sweet spot where I like couldn't always be chronically online.
You know you sort of know what it was like before the internet, but you have to really live before the internet.
Yeah, it was.
I remember
watching come about.
I remember 1999, the episode 1, Star Wars episode 1 teaser trailer was on the StarWars.com, and it was dial up. And I wanted to watch that teaser trailer, which was, I don't know how long that teaser trailer is, It's not a very long teaser trailer, but it's a long enough trailer. And clicking it, and this, oh my gosh, this was at my house. I was married. No, that's episode 2 I'm thinking about. Episode
Yeah.
2. Episode 2, so that would have been 2003. And watching the teaser trailer for that, because I was married. I remember doing this at the house when we first got married. And clicking on it, and then walking away from the computer. Come back in about 10, 15 minutes, and the video might be all loaded up for you to hit play and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, when I first went to college in 97, 98, somewhere around there, like my computer that I took, which some kids had computers. Not every
I had a
kid had a
computer.
computer.
I took a computer. I got a computer my freshman year of college.
But I saw for the first time this thing called an MP3 you could download. And I was like, holy crap. And it only took like 20 minutes to download a song, which was hilarious. And then my computer couldn't play it. It just went like through the sound and stuff. So I had to build a new computer just to play MP3s way back when. So
Trey, you grew up at a time when the internet was there. And oh my gosh, I would love to have a time machine. I would. And take my kids, especially my son, back to 2003. I mean, he was 2. Take him back to that and say, okay, here, watch this video online. This minute and a half video. Come back in 10 minutes.
Oh, the other one related to that was Windows 95 came with a disc that had a CD-ROM, which was brand new back in Windows 95 days, that had the Weezer song on it. And it was the first time I got to see video on a computer. I was like, no way. There was no streaming or anything like that at that point, but you could actually watch video on a computer, which was pretty wild.
Yeah. So, man, we went from Transformers to this.
We have to cut all that.
One kind of going back to cartoons. I don't even know if it was a cartoon. I think it was. But would you say like the little girl equivalent of Transformers was My Little Pony? Or was it Barbie? I mean, I don't think they could find a cartoon, but
well, back when we were kids, it was Strawberry Shortcake and Care Bears.
Okay, more Care Bears. Strawberry Shortcake. I remember my sister, who's a little older than me, she had Strawberry Shortcake.
Nice.
I would say, my wife was My Little Pony. I know she talks about My Little Pony and stuff, and there was a cartoon. It wasn't anything like the
new one,
the new My Little Pony, which is weird. My kids watched that. Okay,
you want to know what's weird? I watched it with my kids, some of it, and I was like, "This isn't horrible.
No,
like, this is actually okay. Like,
no,
it's kind of cool."
But yeah, girls. I honestly, I couldn't tell you what girls played with when I was that age, because you know what? I didn't play with the girls.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Yeah, we were very.
But Barbies, yeah. I mean, a lot of Barbies were still played with, because like I had a cousin who had one, and we we got a light bulb on a lamp, took off the shade, and like melted the hair off the Barbie on the light bulb. So
you were one of those kids, weren't you?
So I wasn't, but I was complicit in it. My cousin and my brother were basically the troublemakers. So yeah,
you were Sid.
Sid. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I think it was Barbies. And Cabbage Patch dolls.
Oh yeah, Cabbage Patch was a thing. Yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, my mom bought us one. She had 3 boys, and I think she wanted a girl because she bought us one.
She bought you all Cabbage Patch Kids?
She joked about it because as soon as she gave it to us, we just started playing football with it. And she started crying. We're like, Mom, yeah, you probably shouldn't have got
that's great.
This type of toy. So,
yeah. I remember Cabbage Patch? No, I don't think Christy. I don't think my sister did Cabbage Patch. But
Trey, did you mostly play with Pokemon or other stuff or
I'm
or
trying
not?
to think.
Sorry, not Pokemon, Digimon.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of Digimon, and I think it was that weird period of where like card games were like just popping off as like collecting, and you just keep buying packs. Which
Did you play Magic? Or
that's the thing. It's such a slippery slope. I didn't, but
okay.
I
didn't either.
collected them just because I liked the artwork. I thought it was just neat. I was like, oh, there's more to it, just not the you just don't just collect these, like get the art. But I feel like that was a huge shift. But I remember Legos were just my thing, and I mean, to this day, I still love Legos. I had
Legos. I had Legos as a kid too. Now I didn't have near as many sets or anything. Like my kids. Oh, my son, he had Legos, and Eric, you're a Lego guy, aren't you, Eric?
Yeah, not as much my son. He did a ton, but yeah, I was. They just started having sets like when I was like 9, 10.
I remember getting
somewhere around there
some space sets.
Yeah, or had a little race car set and stuff like that. But they didn't have any branded stuff at that point.
Oh no, nothing branded.
Yeah, that came way later. But I did go back and buy the Voltron set because I'm a huge. Which, speaking of Japanese animation turned American, I was a huge Voltron fan. And when they came out with a Lego set, I was like, oh, I must have this.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that when it came out. Okay, if we're going to talk about Legos, I would love to, but I'm not going to. The Optimus Prime Legos.
Oh, the big yes, set. I bought that one too.
You bought the Optimus?
Yes, those are like the only two I bought as an adult. But yes, I bought those two. They were fun.
Okay, yeah, I would love to. I mean, those sets, those adult sets, which yeah, it's sad. It is kind of sad that you see, because I'm one of them. I do it. You see more adults in the toy section than you do kids in the toy section.
Yeah.
At the store. Heck, I had to run to Walmart today when I got off work, pick up some stuff. I went through the toy section. I did. Didn't need anything. Wasn't really looking for anything, but I did it.
I think another big shift was like Game Boy was.
I
still have my first Game Boy, and like Pokemon, I think Blue. Like sure, toys were a thing, but now you got handheld video games.
So you were that age. You were the Nintendo. I remember getting the Nintendo when we got the Nintendo. When I got mine, my cousin had one way before I did, and we would go over, have family holidays, and we would go either my house or my cousin's house or my other cousin's house. Well, my one cousin, he had the Nintendo, and we would sit there. It was me, and I had 5 boy cousins. No, I was the 5th boy. I have 4 of those. There were 5 boy cousins, and we would sit there that whole time and play Nintendo. And we were good at it. We didn't fight. You got to play one game. You got to play. So, say I'm playing Mario. I play Mario. I put it in. I play until I die. Then my turn's over. My next cousin comes in. He puts what he wants to play. Plays until he dies. His turn's over. Play, Tecmo Bowl or whatever. Maybe we do it every now and then. We would do 2-player games, and 2 of us would be playing at the same time or something. But when the game was over, we knew we were done. It was the next person's turn. So yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember getting my Nintendo. When I got my Nintendo, that's how old I am. When I got my Nintendo, I got the one with the power pad.
Yep, power pad was awesome.
Yeah, power pad was stupid.
Except it was so easy to cheat. You just get on the ground and go bang on it, and it would.
Yep.
You're like, I'm running so fast.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I got the one with the power pad.
Nice, but I do have to ask though, Trey, like which Game Boy did you have?
So my cousin got. I had to be one of the first. It was like, it was huge. Like the screen, it was like
big gray.
Yep, it was pretty heavy.
About like that.
I kind of secondhand, got that, and then I switched to. It still wasn't Game Boy Color. It's like I think I had every kind of rendition of the Game Boy, but I remember once they like switched to color, it was imagine that's probably how people that were like in the movies changing to color. It was like, whoa, like this is.
I think my kids had Game Boy Advance. I think that was their first ones.
Probably. Yeah, and the Sega Game Gear was also color, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think my kids started with Game Boy Advance. I think that's what they handheld wise.
Yeah, probably. This became the nostalgia episode. Look how old we are episode.
Yes. Well, look how old I am and you are. And then there's Trey.
I've been there. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely feeling the shift of like, wait, my references are no longer like making sense to people, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, compared to my kids, you are old.
Yeah. No, I didn't video games. I remember getting the Nintendo, but beyond that, I really didn't do much past Nintendo.
Oh, you never had a Sega?
Nope, didn't have a Sega.
Oh man, yeah, Mario and Sonic were it. Like for the late '80s, early '90s.
Did I have a? I think I'm. Did I have a Super Nintendo? I don't even know if I ever had a Super Nintendo.
I didn't, but my cousin did. But
I went from Nintendo, and then I didn't get anything. I think until I got my PlayStation 2.
It's quite a gap.
That's quite a gap.
I think I went from Game Boy to PlayStation 1. That like literally, I was that probably came out in 95 or 96, and yeah, that was my first like actual console, and I think my first game was like Crash Bandicoot or something like that.
Classic.
Okay, we're going to talk first console.
Atari
2600.
Yeah, we had one, but it was a little old by the time I was using it. But
yeah, I remember playing that. I remember. Okay, my sister's husband, who was her boyfriend at the time, we were talking, and I mean, me and him went out, had to go to a Radio Shack,
you old,
and buy an adapter to hook the Atari back up to the TV because we found the Atari and we wanted to play it.
It had an old coax connection, didn't it? Or no, it didn't have coax.
It had this little box. It had a little box.
Yeah, I remember the box.
Two little wires that came up out of it. You had to screw them onto the back of the TV.
Yeah, they're like antenna connections.
And then you had to flip a little switch on it.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And Trey's little, what the heck are these old guys talking about?
Yeah, I remember the like earliest experience that I have. I just remember having to change the channel to like 3 or something.
Oh yeah, you always had to change the channel to 3. Yeah.
But by the time you were doing stuff, they probably at least had like RCA connections or something.
Yeah, it started like that. Definitely started transitioning.
The Nintendo had a coax. The PlayStation was RCA. The 3. Yeah.
Yeah, they really didn't get into HDMI until like the Xbox 360 or something around there.
I don't think I ever had to have. I don't think I ever really used an HDMI cord until I got a Blu-ray player. Because all my DVD players were.
Do you remember when DVD players used to have the copyright protection stuff though, where you hooked them up with RCA and it would like dim, and then get brighter, and then dim, and so you couldn't record it off of it and rip it?
No, don't remember that.
Those early ones, yeah, they all did that. It was.
Oh nope, did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes, Trey World. This is the Transformers nostalgia / I'm old.
I was just about to say it's gonna be Transformers and nostalgia.
Yeah. That's the name of this episode, Transformers and Nostalgia.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's been about what, an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, probably about an hour and 10
Right.
minutes since we've been talking about it. So yeah, we probably need to be wrapping it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
Like and subscribe to our ramblings.
Yes, like in the show. No, but okay. Talk about what was your first video game console?
We're curious to know, and we can probably guess your age from what you say too.
Yes, I was Atari 2600, and then Nintendo. Nintendo would be the one I would call was my first one.
Yeah,
the original Nintendo, which I happen to have one back there.
Nice.
It's not hooked up, but it's there. So yeah, and then yes, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then next time when we get together, we are going to start talking about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
because I like Star Wars a lot.
I like it a lot.
So until next time, I'm Lynn. See you next time.
Erik, bye.
Trey, see you.